Talk Like That, a monthly podcast by Mark Byron Dallas on voices, dialects, accents, and the people who use them. Episode 6, November 2020. Talk Like Junior Williams. My new and multi-ethnic West Indian German Jewish friend is established, grounded, well-balanced, and loves keeping fit with yoga. But you'd never guess at his unsettled beginnings. Tragedies during his childhood led him to being uprooted from his native Bronx and transplanted to Toronto, where he was strongly encouraged to alter his dialect to a more standard one. You'll later hear him speaking quite comfortably in a Jamaican accent, and he explains how he became comfortable slipping into it. We discuss race, racism, the divided states of America, the rise of the Karen and a narrow worldview, and why Uta Hagen banned his Walkman, and how she helped him to remember the smell of canine feces. But before we listen to his voice, I'd just like to plug a couple of my own projects that you might be interested in. I've started providing a 6-week group coaching program called the Accent Alchemy Academy, which offers modules including thoroughly learning accents layer by layer, such as General American, Standard British, also known as RP, original pronunciation of Shakespeare, yes, you heard it, Shakespeare, and the complete International Phonetic Alphabet and how it can be used to accurately write down any accents you hear. For more information, just join my Facebook group, Accent Alchemists Anonymous, and I can answer any questions you might have there. Now on with the podcast. So this month I'm joined by actor and producer Junior Williams. Junior, or Uncle June as he's known to many, has appeared in more than 100 TV commercials, countless TV shows including Baroness von Sketch, one of my favorites, The Strain, Covert Affairs, and several movies. Junior Williams, welcome to Talk Like That, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Mark. Hello, everyone out there in COVID land. Wear your mask. Put your mask on.
Put your mask on. That's right. You got the message out to about at least 5 people. So all of those listeners.
There'll be more.
Well, hopefully we'll add a few more because I think you've got some friends. You've got about 7 friends, right? So we can boost it up to 12.
We'll get up to 12. We're pushing for 13. We got to go for 13.
Lucky 13. Okay, so Junior, I'd like to start out with your origins. I understand you were born in the Bronx, right? New York?
Yeah, Bronx, New York, 1965, January 24th.
Wow, so you're giving your age away from the very start.
Yeah, I don't give a crap. I've come to terms with it since 40. I had to get reading glasses and everything being in New York. So it's like, I'm one of those, though. I've embraced the aging. There's no hair left, reading glasses, the aches and pains. I mean, I was a jock when I was a kid in university and a whole bit in high school, but I still work out. Not now with the pandemic. I'm more doing yoga at home now because there's no weights here at home. So yoga and HIIT training. So no weights, so I miss that a lot. But
right.
I'm still eating properly, so to speak, and and getting some exercise. So my core is okay, and my cardio's in there, and my back and nervous system because of yoga and whatnot. My mental state, it's helping a lot that way too. But I do miss my weights.
I need to get some tips from you about yoga later. So because I'm about as flexible as a crunchy crisp.
Well, I highly recommend it because not just that, it's about when you reach. I know you're probably 21 plus, but me being 55. But me being 55,
yeah,
I was born with scoliosis.
Well, into my 30s, like I celebrate my 35th for about the 20th time.
But it is good for your nervous system, Mark. I highly recommend it. It's good for your nervous system, your spine, your back, and your whole core, and it will help you in feeling better.
Cool.
Also, it's meditative, right, too. So this part of the meditation, too, and stuff. And it'll help you a lot. It's not a negative. It's not a negative.
Yeah.
It totally will help you. as you age, and the bumps and bruises, the cartilage, the ligaments and whatnot, the joints. It helps a lot with that. So I highly recommend it to everyone out there. All 12 of you, maybe 13 of you.
Well, I've tried it a couple of times, but then I realized you have to keep doing it. That's the you can't just do it like once or twice. You can't do it once a year.
No, I do it twice. Well, now it's every day because I do 15 minutes of the HIIT training, which is high intensity interval training. And then I do yoga for 20 minutes, half an hour.
The yoga thing sounds like a good advice. So you grew up in New York, and
parents met there. My father was Jamaican born, and then was in the Bahamas, and then he moved to New York. Met my mother, who was Italian Dominican, not Dominican Republic, Dominica, for those who don't know. Italian French, Dominican mixed, and kind of like Sade, split image of Sade. They met.
Oh, wow.
Got married, had me, and then they got divorced when I was 5. And then my father moved to Toronto. And my mother was born with a hole in her heart back in the 30s. So she wasn't supposed to live past 16, but she ended up dying when she was 38.
Right.
And so I was 9 years old. They divorced when I was 5. Then she had a boyfriend and they had a kid. And so when I was 7.5, so I died. My mom died at 9.5. At 7.5, my stepbrother died from crib death. They call it SIDS now. I think that, looking back on it now, I think that pushed her health. She started getting sick after that, maybe 6 months after that. She was sick for about 1.5 years. And I came home from a baseball game in the summer in August. And I found her dead in her chair, and I was listening for a heartbeat. And I ran we had these red phones. If you go to New York, Manhattan, all over New York, you'll see these old red booths in the street. They leave them there like they're historical sites. There were emergency phones back then. So this is 1974. So I called, and the police wouldn't come. They thought I was joking. I said, my mom's dead. Can you please come? Can you please come? And they thought I was joking. Then I ran back, and Miss Sue saw me running and crying, and Jimmy, from her window, head out the window. Yo, what you doing? What you doing? My mom died. She's upstairs. The police think I'm joking. And then she came upstairs, and she called the police, being an adult. And then the whole street knew. It was big chaos in front of the building. And I was down on the this crate in front of the building, wondering where am I going to live? I was terrified. My father wasn't the nicest of men. There was a lot of domestic abuse. I didn't see it per se because I was too young, but he broke my mother's leg and so forth. So that's the way the relationship was like. Yeah. And I'd only met him once when I was 7. He came down from Toronto with my stepbrothers, 2 stepbrothers, and my stepmother, who I call mom now. And on my birthday, he gave me a watch, and that was the only time I met him. But my mom told me that when she passed, I was going to go live it with him. But she didn't say it in so many words, but she told him on the phone to come get me. So that's what happened. He came down, and her cousins hid me, and her aunt hid me in their building when they hid me in the shower. And I can't tell you what the time span was, a few minutes, half an hour, all of a sudden, boom, boom. Guns open, bathroom door open. I'm in the bathtub like this, and it's my father there crying. But then I left with him and came to Toronto. And then my stepmother. But the domestic violence continued. With my mother, came in from playing hockey, road hockey, and she had a black eye. And then he would hit me, but not the kids or whatever. And then they got divorced when I was like 15, starting high school. And my stepmom, Joan, I call mom, Craig, Robert, and Tracy, who are 7, 8, and 11 years younger than me. And then my father got remarried with his mistress then in Detroit, and he's been down here happily married for 35 years. Doesn't hit women anymore.
That's the result?
It took a while for me to forgive him, though. I had to do therapy in the late 90s, mid-90s and stuff. And I mean, my father was charming and everything, and smart man. He's just, I won't get into that, his past, whatever happened, all that done with therapy, figure out why he is the way he is. But
yeah.
He's a descendant of German Jews, maternal side. My great-grandparents left Germany after World War I, and they're Jewish, William Alexander, my great-grandfather, and they moved to St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. Now, what people don't know is that Jamaica, there's a lot of, it's about 275,000 Jews in Jamaica. Late 17th century, a lot of Jews from Spain and Portugal the Caucasus and so forth, they migrated to the Caribbean.
Oh, wow.
Jews have been having problems with the world, since the beginning of time. So it's like they were leaving way back then before there was a Hitler. 300 years before that, they didn't like Jews up in Spain or Portugal. So they came to the Caribbean. A lot of them hid their Jewishness. Mm-hmm. They didn't open up any temples or anything. Just kept to themselves. And then slowly over time, things have changed. And my great-grandfather, William Alexander, he owned a racetrack, biggest one in Barbados, in Jamaica, in St. Elizabeth. And he died like Christopher Reeve. He died when he was 52 years old in a horsing accident.
Oh, wow.
The horse broke his neck. But took a liking to my dad. My grandmother, being Jewish, the problem is that she didn't follow her faith. And she ended up not following Judaism, but rather became like a hippie before they called people hippies. Okay. So she married a mixed man. We're all mixed, like a mixed man who, my grandfather Leopold Williams, who's also German, black, white, German kind of mixed thing. So she married him, and then they had 7 children, and my dad's one of the 7. And so they lived a non-religious lifestyle. But my father took the Judaism because my father was like his favorite. My my father went to stay with him a lot and live with him a lot in his teen years before he took off to go to Bahamas to work and things like that. Mm-hmm. My father always followed the Jewish religion because he liked the whole education side of things, studying, working hard to make it to the next place. Religiously, he didn't follow it, but that's why wherever my dad has lived, has always been a Jewish neighborhood.
Right. So he was immersed in the culture.
Exactly. Like where I lived in the Bronx, where I was born in the Bronx, where I lived in the Bronx, that used to be after the Holocaust. The Jews that survived the Holocaust and migrated there, a lot of them lived there back in the 40s.
You yourself identify as Jewish?
Yeah, and a lot of my friends, because where I grew up are Jewish. Yeah, I identify with it as well. And like I said, I went to Jewish summer camp and a whole bit. And the majority of my childhood is growing up with Jewish people and a few WAS. So a lot of my friends are that. And then the rest of my friends, I worked in clubs and bars and restaurants coming up as an actor. So a lot of the fashion industry, the club industry, hospitality industry, I know a lot of people from that. And then also acting industry. So living in 4 different cities and so forth, I've become, a lot of my friends are also part of this world that you and I are in.
Is it easy for you to slip from one accent to the other? Like, can you slip into New York accent and then into a Canadian accent, into a Jamaican accent or whatever?
A few drinks in me now at this age, yeah. But when I was younger, in my 20s after theater school and acting school and the whole bit, university's done. In your mid-20s, you're out with the boys. Mm-hmm. You're drinking. We all would get into characters, like, so, excuse me, once in a blue moon, like I might do an English accent all night or try my attempt to. A couple of friends might have English backgrounds, have been Scottish or Irish. I was better at it back then, that spontaneously, that I could do things like that. Mm-hmm. Now I think too much. I'm too jaded. Too much has happened since then, and I've matured more and I don't do things like that. But I think if it's a few drinks in me here and there and someone starts putting it on, I might follow suit. I'm with fellow actors, but I don't see that much anymore because we're all middle-aged now. We're not hanging out, 3 times a week, going to pubs after drinks and having pints, sharing pints or anything. Right. And going to characters in your 20s, right? Actors hanging out. You all doing things for each other, right? You're imitating Saturday Night Live or whatever.
So you think
the Jamaican accent I can put on in 2 seconds, though.
Oh, okay. So it's like for you, it's like a comfortable thing. You can slip into the Jamaican accent.
Because I grew up around it, right? Like my father could speak very well. Obviously, an educated man, real estate. I'll get a phone call. No, sorry, he'll be on the phone when I was a kid. Yes, David, I'll have the papers over to you in the morning and blah, 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 and the keys will be dropped off at the door. Then he'll leave the phone. Then the phone will ring. I'll answer it. And it's his friend, Peter. Yeah. And I go, hello? He goes, and Peter will go, hello, Erman there. I go, Daddy, it's Uncle Peter. And he'd come over and go, wow, my blood clot, yo. That's me, I'm not working or a stuff. Make a deal, only by money I come here. I never took a voice class. I did an Australian accent. I made a choice, I think it was a year ago. It was actually in a commercial.
Okay.
It was a commercial, I think, and I thought, it just comes to you. I said, I got to make it, it's going to be different than everyone else. I go, this guy would talk with an Australian accent, and I would get the humor across more. And then I started listening to things. I go on YouTube and look at an old Crocodile Dundee movie or something, or Robert Downey Jr. in that movie.
No. Don't ever do that. Don't ever listen to another actor putting on
an accent.
Just go
exactly.
That's
exactly because theirs is not. Yeah, exactly. And I remembered that when I did it. I remembered it then when I started listening to him. Well, he's not fucking. He's not. So, but I would have to hear it where it might have been easier when I was younger. I could just hear an Australian dude beside me for an all night drinking, whatever, and I can go right into it. Right. Same with an English accent, and then even a Scottish or Irish. Now, when I watch a movie, an Irish movie, a Scottish movie, like even Braveheart, now it's like I have to think. I'll try a few words, and it's like, fuck, I've just lost. I was able to, even when I was in my youth, it was easier for me to go there, and that's without training, right? So, but I've never got the opportunity. I'm not, because I'm black. I'll never get the opportunity to do an Irish accent or a Scottish accent. I can't.
I tell you what, mate. Just because you're black, because there are a lot of black Irish people,
Well, yeah, that's just the material in front of me. I'm in Toronto. I'm reading for American movies. Yeah. If it's an Irish movie, only the white people that are from Ireland are speaking, that migrate to America are the ones speaking Irish. If it's a black role, it's always a black role. I'm reading for a gangster, drug dealer.
That's the problem with the industry, right?
Yeah.
The industry is so entrenched in this kind of it's stereotypes. It's so hard to change that. It will change, but with people pushing against it and complaining about it, but it is so still deeply embedded in okay, well, you're a black guy, therefore, you're a certain type of black guy, so therefore we can slot you into this role. And I remember another time you said that you were not usually booking the kind of typical quote unquote black guy roles
because I'm not black enough.
Right, because you're not black enough. Which is kind
of
what is
black? What does being black mean? Because it's the stereotype of American that's born to projects, doesn't have a proper education. It's like, yo, what's up, man? How you doing? Now I could do all that, but when someone like me does, I'm also soft. My features are also soft,
right?
And so my face is soft. Nice guy, soft as well. So that's part of the problem too, which you can't really change that. If you write a good script, I can play a bad guy because I rape women or I'm a serial killer. That's in the script, and I'll be the dialogue. My look shouldn't make difference whether I'm evil or not. That's the soul of what's going on in here. It shouldn't be your face or your body type, right? But like you said, it's stereotypes. Well, he looks creepy. He must be the killer. You know what I mean? That bullshit. So unfortunately, that's what I get. They see me soft. So when I'm reading for a tough guy, it was also, I was brought up not to be that way. I went from improper English in New York and them correcting me when I got here using two negatives in a sentence. I ain't got nuns, and they would, my mom Joan would say, stop, speak properly. That's don't say I ain't got nuns. I just think say I ain't got nuns, and then I got taught grammar here and public education because of where I grew up. So I was taught not to be uncivilized and uneducated like those other black people. I've got to be the elevated, educated, and carry myself through.
Yeah, but then again, really, I could comment on that by saying that's another type of prejudice.
Right? Oh, of course it is.
Because it's like a linguistic, it's a linguistic and dialectal prejudice.
Yeah.
Well, that's wrong. I ain't got none is wrong. Well, actually, I can just imagine you probably get a thick ear because if you're like, well, actually, Mom, it's not that it's wrong. It's just a different dialect. Okay. So
I was 9 years old. I didn't even know the word dialect yet. Now I'd say that, believe it or not, I'm the first black person in Canada to get a beer commercial.
Wow.
And that's 1994, 95. You never saw black people in a commercial in Canada. Labatt's Blue, Molson Canadian, Carlsberg Light.
Is that because, to use your words, you were not too black?
Well, maybe that was it. Now, I never thought of it that way. The tides were turning slowly but surely.
And that was years before the "What's Up?" because
What's Up was when I was in Vancouver, 98, 99. 99 was What's Up? Yeah. That's American though. Here's the thing, Al. Between the two countries though, when I got down there. America is behind us Canadians on the street.
All right.
Okay, socially speaking, when it comes to diversification. But in advertising, they're 20 years ahead. They had mixed couples in beer commercials and in commercials, period, on TV in advertising in early 2000s.
Right.
Black and white person, a white and an Asian and a black. And I'm going, well, no, we never got that. It has to be a black family, a black couple, or a white couple.
The United Kingdom beat the USA in that.
Oh, really? So
I think so. I don't have like figures in front of me but I'm pretty sure that by 2000 there were like multiracial couples in ads. I'm pretty sure of that.
And I can only say that with advertising in America. It's not with film or TV. Right. You guys say you guys are here now. You're one of me, Canadian, but UK is still ahead. Like right now, the UK is even ahead of Canada and the United States when it comes to diversification on TV. You see it everywhere. Every show you watch now, TV series, BBC, and the whole bit.
There's a lot, but don't let that fool you because there's still a huge amount of racism.
Oh yeah,
going on there because I saw I saw something in the news the other day about a commercial that it's like a Christmas commercial for, I think it's for Sainsbury's, right? And they've got this commercial where it's a black family, British family, which are, I'm not sure, I couldn't hear any like other accent other than them being like from Southeast England, right? So they're, it's just a very sort of basic commercial, but it's kind of them talking to each other on the phone and like saying, "Oh, I'm really looking forward to Christmas," and this kind of thing. And I would never have like thought anything about this until I saw some news item pop up that there's a massive reaction against this commercial. And I saw some crazy vitriolic posts that were like, well, Sainsbury's have lost the customer now because I can't see myself in this commercial. And I saw other ones that were like, well, they should be showing British people in there, or there should be some white people. And I'm thinking, what year is this? Have I gone back in time? I couldn't believe
white people have been on TV since the beginning of the television was invented and the screen. Like we've had white people. They might not be a black person or minority on the screen at all.
White person, I feel underrepresented by this commercial because there's only black people in it. I couldn't believe what I was reading.
Exactly.
So,
and people are shocked about the United States. 70 million people voted for Trump. Like. Black people, minorities have been saying America's racist, and no one believes it because there's no internet. The cops are pulling us over. We tell people, they go, you probably did something wrong. You look suspicious. They wouldn't kill you or shoot you. Guys, we're telling you this, but because there's no internet, it's not being caught on camera. No one's going to believe it. No one's believing it unless you look like us, which means you're getting pulled over. And dealing with racist people and dealing with Karens. Karens have been around for fucking ever.
Oh yeah,
they've been around forever, and no one knew. Like it's like because it wasn't on camera. Oh, this crazy woman. Oh, you just caught her on a bad day. Or you're just probably walking along your dog's an ass or something. Like you know what I mean? Like now you know, and now they knew that 70 million people voted for Trump.
Right.
And that's out of those 70 million, only 3 million, the 1%ers, the corporations that make that have all the wealth that also voted for him because they don't want to pay taxes and so forth.
Yeah.
So that's them, but they're 1%. The other 99% of his voters are racist people. They're poor, uneducated white people. 40% of America is poor, uneducated white people. And I was down there for 14 years, and I told everybody that when I was down there. Like New York, the rest of the world thinks America is, like generally speaking, is New York, LA, Miami, Chicago, Broadway, movies, music, Time Magazine, MTV, the Kardashians, the athletes, the rappers, The actors, Hollywood. They think that's what America is. Oh, I want to come to America. I want to come to America. And then they get here and they're going to put 7 people in a fucking apartment building, share an apartment with 7 other people, get a job at Subway, and they're fucking all pissed off by the 3rd month. They're 5 shifts a week and shit. They got to work 2 jobs, dishwashing at the Marriott. And they're all going, fuck this place, man. Everybody's walking around. I thought I'd come here and get BMW and Mercedes Benz. And, no, bro. You were watching movies. That ain't the real shit. Even in Canada, that ain't the real shit. Y'all got to come here and you see what the real shit is. When Reagan took over in 1980, he started defunding education. And the Democrats are guilty of it too. They didn't put any money back into it either. So you've got 40 years of defunding of education in the public school system down there. So no one that goes to public school is getting a proper education, number one. Now, you have to have that. You have to dumb down the people because as soon as you don't have to join the army anymore, it's not mandatory that you serve, in the military in America after Ali and the whole bit. Things changed in the 70s. Well, who's going to go fight? Well, the fucking rich kids that go to fucking college and shit ain't going to fucking, I'm not going to go and die. They're too educated, too smart for that. Fuck that. I ain't going to fucking go kill myself. It's all poor people. Poor people, they don't get to travel. They don't know any better. You get 3 meals a day. You might get an education. They promote it on TV. They send you the advertisement. With computers, you might get a computer education. You'll get an education, a post-secondary education. You get to travel, go to Germany, Australia, and so forth. But they've got to tell you at the bottom, the small credits. Oh, by the way, you might die. So Americans are brought up. They're also not part of the Commonwealth. All the countries in the Commonwealth, we're brought up that it's education, and you learn from traveling. All countries in the Commonwealth, we learn to travel. Americans don't travel, man. American traveling, some people don't even have a passport till they're adults, unless they're wealthy. Their traveling is going to Vegas or going to Atlantic City or maybe Florida. That's traveling to them.
We're talking about travel.
Yeah.
I want to mention, one of your grandparents came over from Germany shortly after World War I, and so did German-American actress Uta Hagen, who I understand you studied under for a while. Is that right?
Yes, I did. Uta, she would come to Toronto in the late 80s. To come here doing workshops. So I was fortunate enough to study with her. And studying with her, I was also majoring in philosophy at University at York. I had to take a lot of shortcuts. Not naturally, subconsciously, I was taking shortcuts. And I had to get that out of me. And she was one of those. Got me out of it. And then she made me hardcore actor. You're not allowed to have a Walkman. So I had just got my first Walkman, and I wasn't allowed to use it. She wanted me to watch people in the subway. She wanted me to pay attention to characters and listen to people, watch people, the mannerisms and the whole bit. When you have a Walkman on, you kids today, and this is 1986 or whatever, she would say, people aren't listening anymore. They're not watching people. Actors have to watch and listen to everyone. You can't listen to your Walkman. I go, well, I won't be around you. It's like, how do you know I'm not doing it? She goes, well, it'll end up in your work. When you're in class, it'll end up. I'll see how you're making progress. If you don't come to the class with a Walkman, it's your life. That's how life works. What you do during the day. If you listen to music all day, you'll probably come in here singing more often. You probably will do beats in your head, or when you're bored, you start whistling, and music's always on your mind because you're listening to the Walkman all day. But when you don't, you're not listening to music anymore. Your mind will be on other things. Yeah. And all these characters you see will be in your brain. Oh, wow, look at that woman doing that. Well, this one was, having mental health issues, and she's going crazy and talking to herself. And you start noticing more because you're forced, your brain has to
you start notice things around you as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true though. I mean, she's absolutely right. As soon as you put on headphones, apart from looking at where you're going, not really focusing on much else, and you take them off, and then your brain's looking for something else to occupy. What can I look at next? So I think that's great advice that she gave you.
He gave me. You know what advice to? Well, also, I learned the method and the whole bit, with her and so forth, which I took a love to. But the whole sense memory thing, what's happened to me in the last 7 years is the decline of my sense of smell. What's good about it is I can't smell farts, I can't smell rotten, I can't smell shitty things, but I fucking can't smell nice things either. You give me a flower, Wine, I can barely taste the smell of the berries kind of thing, but that's almost gone too. It's looking at things that like a dog shit. Like I don't remember what a dog shit smells like. And it will come to me if I give it some. I have to give it some good thought. I go, oh yeah, like, now I can smell it right
now. To remember what dog shit smells like, it's bad.
Yeah, I know it's bad, but it took me like a minute. It took me 40 seconds to think about it and do this, and I'm going, oh yeah, and right now I can sense it right now.
Yeah,
I'm not smelling it, but I can sense it right now. That's acting.
Right.
If I'm walking a dog puts shit on me. My character has dog shit dumped on him or something. I'll take me 30 seconds. I'll have to remember what that smells like. And then it helps my performance because then it comes out naturally. Because then that's like, oh, fuck, yeah. Oh, fuck that. Oh, fuck, You can just do that, but your performance will be better because it seems like it comes from a place of genuine, it's genuine.
I wonder if there's a link somewhere, like a neural connection between that and accents as well. Because I noticed that the way you described it was that when you were younger and you used to go out partying and hanging out with your buddies, you would like just go into an accent and like, put on an accent, whatever. And then over the years, it's like you'd have to really sort of think more about it rather than just.
Yeah, I'd have to hire somebody like you. If I was fortunate enough, it was an independent movie and I got to do an Irish accent or English accent, I would come to somebody like you and I'd have time because it's independent. Mm-hmm. So the producers wanted me anyway. They're not going for a name or something. Mm-hmm. That's the only way I see it. Or if it's a project I produce myself, just starting out with the producing thing, then I go that way. Then I get to hire someone like you and work at it and do it. Like even what I was doing was probably not great, but to the average ear, if I did an English accent, they might 30 years ago, 20 years ago, they think it's funny.
Yeah, there's a difference between just playing at it, playing in the accent, and actually acting through the accent.
Exactly.
And then there's a difference between that and actually acting the accent, because that's what directors want you to not do. Like, don't act the accent, and it's like a fine line, and the way you approach it, the way you embody it and immerse yourself in it as part of the character, the accent as being part of the actual character. When you're studying that character and getting to learn how to be that character, that's where it comes in.
Because you can't think about it. You got to work at it, so it's so natural. I mean, that's been performance. What happened was, Star Hunter was a co-UK, co-Canada production, sci-fi series. So I came into audition for the Bounty Hunter as a guest star. He takes one of the crew members, authors the whole episode, played by Tanya Allen, and they're all searching for me, right? The whole episode on the ship, I'm hiding everywhere with her. But so the audition, I come in, I forget what they gave me, 8 pages or whatever it was, 12 pages. And the director, Greg, I forget Greg's last name, he's an English director. He came up to me when I walked in, and of course the character was written for a white guy. Like I've also crossed over with the casting directors in Canada. I reached a certain point that I would read for white roles as well. So I'm going, as a white guy, I'm going to do this, and probably white guy's going to get it, whatever. Ignorance is bliss, and the longer you've been in the business, you can look at a breakdown and know, well, I'm not going to get this. But anyway, you still do it anyway. You take the audition as your craft, and it's fun. You get to act, and you just fucking do it. You work at it. Those just things, small roles, small actors a little bit. So you don't have a chance. Doesn't matter. Just do it. So anyway, I went in, and as soon as I walked in, he goes, Junior, can you do English accent? And I go, yeah, I think I can. Not as good as you. Just for fun. I've never got to do it on TV or film or anything. He goes, okay. I don't mean to sound offensive. Can you do a Jamaican accent? I go, yeah, that's no problem. That's family. I grew up with that. So it's part of my heritage and the whole of it. It's in my back pocket. So that's easy to do. So I go, okay. Do you need to go back outside, take a minute? No, just give me a minute in here. Let me just look at it again. Okay, let's go. And I did it in Jamaican. And he said to me, we have to see a few more people, but you've hired.
So because you had the accent in your back pocket that you could slip into, and you booked that role from having the accent.
Having the accent. He asked me to do it. Otherwise, I would have done just like all the other white guys were doing.
Right.
Hey, back off. Hey,
I say, back off.
Back off, right? But he loved it. And he grew up in the UK. He probably knows Jamaicans and knows the Jamaican accent back home. And he just came to him. when I was on set, when a Jamaican says back off, they don't say back off. It's fuck off. And I was putting a gun on.
Yeah.
So I'm yelling, and I got a gun pointing at these two guys, and I'm going, buck off, but it sounds like fuck off. So Dwayne said, go and call and cut afterwards. Junior, we don't want to be offensive, but are you saying fuck off because it's not in the script? No, I'm saying buck off. I'm saying back off, guys. But in Jamaica, that's how you say it.
Yeah.
They go, okay, we got to change it then because it's coming off to our ears, our innocent virgin Jamaican patois ears. It's sounding like fuck off, and this is a primetime show, so we can't have any swearing.
Yeah.
We got to say back off. We want to do something. We want to do something fun. Like it's fun because it's Jamaican patois is hilarious because there's Jamaicans who don't speak patois either. There's also a Jamaican way of speaking, right? And it would take me now a few minutes. It's harder for me to do that than to do the patois because the patois is funny. Jamaicans laugh at themselves. Their humor is self-deprecating. They'll be the first one to be funny to a crowd, and they'll be the first one to laugh as they're being funny. Mud. You know what I mean? And then everyone else starts laughing. They're the first ones to laugh at themselves when they're speaking patois. Patois is supposed to be funny in their culture. Speaking patois. Even speaking patois down there is discriminatory because it's a sign that you're not educated. But all the educated Jamaicans can speak it, but you're not supposed to because it's not proper English, right? And that's in Barbados too. Like my aunts and everything, all women, they're like, speak the Queen's tongue. Who said speaking the Queen's tongue is white? Like that, they hate that too. There's like, what, black people are supposed to speak so because a color's affiliated the way you speak? No.
Well, exactly. I mean, there are white Jamaicans.
Yeah, they're white Jamaicans. And when I first saw that, white Bajans, like Chinese Jamaicans, Chinese Trinidadians.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody says to me, oh, Mark, you doing a Jamaican accent on your voice reel, that's suspect. I'm like, hey, I'm doing a white Jamaican, okay?
Yeah, white Jamaican. There's white Jamaicans. But you see how we're brainwashed? Because those people that say that to you are white people they haven't traveled. They haven't never met a white Jamaican. They met black Jamaicans, but they haven't met white Jamaicans. They don't know any better that there are white Jamaicans. Like they don't know. A lot of people don't know this shit. Even I didn't know. I never met a Chinese Jamaican. So my dad took me to, her and her husband used to own one of the first West Indian food places here at St. Clair and Bathurst. Uh-huh. So he took me to meet them. He knew them from Jamaica when they were kids, and they opened up here. And so we go there the other time, and then they're Chinese. They're talking, hey, Herman, what must thou say, Rasta? You want some jerk chicken with that? You want some plantain? And I'm like, Chinese people talk like that? There's Chinese people down there. It's East Indians migrated to Guyana and Trinidad. They call them coolies. They're down there. That's why it's called the West Indies. And like I learned a lot too. And then I met Warren's dad, a friend of mine in first year at university at York. His I can't remember if his mother his father was a professor there. But we met at York first year, and he was a mixed Chinese white Jamaican. And he had a hard accent because he actually was born in Jamaica and migrated here. I met him when he was 19. He probably got here when he was like 12 or 13. So he still had a hard accent too, and he could go in and out of it. Yeah. But even when he spoke English, just proper English, whatever proper is, proper English, you still heard his accent. That's how thick it was, right?
Yes. Yeah.
South Asian looking people speaking Trinidadian or Guyanese or Bajan and Jamaican, and then white people. I mean, I remember my first white Bajan accent. When I went back when I was 21 and went to that Barbados trip 33 years ago, I met a girl on the beach, and she was white, but she had an accent. I remember I'm 55 years old. I remember 34 years later. Junior, blonde hair, green eyes. Junior, you want some more rum punch? I thought it was the coolest thing. This hot white girl with blonde hair, green eyes, and she's talking with a Bajan accent.
I wanted to ask you about your first movie break that came in the role of Curtis. Film Rude, which is a movie it's a Canadian crime film directed by Clement Virgo. And I understand you have a funny story about the audition you went to for that.
Yeah, I was learning my lines, and I was saying to myself, like, it just seemed too sensitive for a boxer. Like, it just seemed too sensitive. And the breakdown, I wasn't told what he was.
But you knew he was a boxer, right?
Yeah, he was a boxer. So I went in, and as I sat down, Clement was there, and the producer, Damon D'Oliveira, Clement goes to me. So before we start, he goes, by the way, I've seen you on ENG. I had a recurring role in ENG the whole bit. He'd know my work already. And I said, thank you very much. He goes, so do you have any problems playing a gay boxer? So I don't know what the look on my face was like, but I was shocked. I was like, oh, that's why it's the words, the lines, the sides are so sensitive. And everyone started, they were scared, chuckling, because it's 1994.
Right. Yeah.
So, like,
Very
you don't
different.
see at that time, you don't see even gay characters on TV. And if you do, it just started with Melrose Place. But you never see them kiss. They just hugged each other, right?
Right.
It was just starting to introduce gay characters on TV and film.
Yeah.
So I said, I want to work. This is a Canadian Film Center, like CFC, you know. I'm going to get to meet Norman Jewison and shit. And I'm going to, like, there was the start of not the start, but it was like when the CFC started going. I want to be a part of this film, man. It's a good character. It's 3 stories, you know, together. The 6 main characters. I'm one of the main characters. I want this part. I just said, yes, I want to work. Mm-hmm. So I was doing a movie with Jack Lemmon at the time. Some prison, I remember what it was called. And so I'm back on set. I had like a few days on it. So I'm back on set with Jack, and I tell Jack, he asked me how the audition went because he knew of it. I said, he's a gay character. So what do you mean by that? I go, well, they asked me if I wanted to do it. When I sat down, I told him the story. When I sat down, they told me this guy was gay. And I said, yes, because I want to work. He goes, some like it hot, Junior. We've all done it. You always want to be challenged by a role that you're scared of. I did it. Tony Curtis did it. Al Pacino's done it. I hadn't heard of Needle in the Park yet. It was the first time. That's why I went and tried to rent it from Queen Video at the time. And he challenged me. Jack Lemmon said, you got to do roles that you're afraid of. That's what not being an actor is. So I got even more into it, you know. And then I finished Rapid Jack, and we were prison cellmates or whatever. So I learned my lines, and we started shooting. A couple weeks later, we started shooting, and it was a great time. And the film came out. You know, all my friends, but you'd be joking with my friends, right? Like even fellow actors, like, oh, he's gay. Oh, fuck, dude. So there's a big scene in it with me and actor Richard Chevallot. We're in a closet, and we reveal that we're gay. We're sitting across from each other. I'm taking his gloves, his tape off his hands, and it says we hug each other. So Richard and I had already talked. We said, fuck, man, this is soft, man. Fucking hug each other. It's like we talked about Melrose Place. How those guys every week, when it's time for them to kiss and show affection, are always fucking hugging. Mm-hmm. So we said, we won't ask Clement. We'll just do it. So the first take, we kiss. And it's not one of those, it wasn't always, it was a moment of, we're both realizing, admitting we're gay and we're attracted to each other. Mm-hmm. And so it was a nice soft kiss, a proper kiss kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And Clement goes, cut at the end of it. Fuck, I know you guys were going to do that. We go, yeah, are you cool with that? He goes, yeah, of course. I was scared. I didn't write it down. I didn't, you know, the way everyone is, the world, like I didn't know. I love it. Let's fucking do it again. Can you do it again? I go, yeah. I forget how many takes. We only did 2 or 3 takes, and we nailed it. Yeah. Richard and I were both on our craft and our time, and we were like late 20s. And so the film went on to go to Cannes, Sundance, TIFF, the whole bit. After the TIFF screening at the Uptown Theater, the audience loved it. And as we're leaving to go to the after party, 2 gay kids came up to me and said, we're so happy that you did that. You know, you reflected in the movie. This is 1995, bro, when it was released.
Wow.
2 gay kids. And they said, thank you for that. I got it again back in 99. I'm at a club that was really happening at the time. There was some bar around the mid-90s. Mm-hmm. And once again, 2 kids, not female, but male, came up to me at the bar and say, guess what? You're Junior Williams. I go, yeah. I go, how do you know that? Because no internet. Internet just started, but there's no internet yet. There's no yeah. York University Film School is studying Rude. So they're watching Rude and studying Rude. And they saw me. We're studying your movie right now. Curtis. It's a great movie, blah, blah, blah. Nice to meet you, man. Blah, blah. There's no cameras yet or phones to take pictures with me. They asked me to sign a piece of paper and napkin. They took back to school at York University, my alma mater. And they're teaching a film that I'm in at school. Wow. So it's kind of surreal.
Yeah.
So I had 2 stories for you there, but that's the story with Rude. Yeah. Rude allowed me to get into all rooms now, to read for everything. And
you've played a wide range of roles in your career of 3 decades and counting. So what role would you still love to play?
I think about it every day. I think about it. I'd be lying if I didn't say I daydream about it every day. It keeps changing the character. I don't have a script in my head. I write a lot in the mornings. Some days I miss a morning or whatever. If it's a weekend, I'm not writing. But in my head right now, I don't have a script or a story. It's just signs of the times and everything. I want to play a character for me that would challenge me, that would win me an Oscar, let's say. I'd have to be a character that suffers from mental health issues, addiction, maybe, wrong place, wrong time. He's obviously middle-aged. A lot of the love in his life is gone for whatever reason that have to be developed in a script, that he's by himself, maybe homeless. But he has a lot of love in his heart. For some reason, he's managed to keep that love and hope and faith in the rest of the universe. He could suffer from Tourette's syndrome, from all I know, or he suffer from depression or schizophrenia. But there's some joy in here still, and he connects with a young girl. Okay, and I want her to be white because I want to get the race element in there of what's going on in America and the world right now.
Yeah,
dealing with white systemic racism and just racism, period, and hate, and people need to come together, kind of thing. If it's a young white girl and her mom, and a girl connects with me somehow, I'm homeless maybe, and I don't have money to get better because there's no. It also touches on, because the story will touch upon the lack of funding for mental health as well.
Right. Yes.
So that'll be part of the story too. And for some reason, this girl and I bond, and we get together, and I see her, and I get cleaned up somehow. They get to develop that in the script. So you see my A to Z transition. I get to have meds now, and people don't think poorly of me anymore, so to speak. Like people, I get cleaned up a bit. When you see me, my head is patchy, maybe my beard, I have sores or whatever. I don't speak. I go off sometimes, and people think I'm violent or I'm stupid. They think I'm on the street because I'm lazy and I don't work because I'm just lazy. But maybe I'm an alcoholic. Or I end up becoming a drug addict to numb the pain from my family. I'm losing work and losing my family members. And I also have this illness on top of it, which is why I do that. And then this girl shows me hope, a ray of hope, and I get a connection with her. And I end up being like her best friend, so to speak. And her mom loves me. And kind of, they don't take me in per se, but somehow there's an angel looking over my shoulder, and it's this little girl. And it's a courtroom scene maybe, but what I want to happen is there to be a sad ending. And Hollywood might not like it, but if I have any say in it, what I want it to be is I leave their house for dinner or something, and I'm going along my way, and there's a scene where they wake up in the morning, and the little daughter, she's probably 8, 10 years old, 9 years old. She sees a TV in the kitchen. She's getting cereal. And there's a broadcast going on, CNN or whatever it is, local news. And a black man has been killed, shot to death, in his car, or he's been hung or something. And she screams because it's me. And her mother comes running from the bedroom and goes, what's going on? What's going on? And it's actually me. I was killed. Now, why was I killed? That's part of the script. It could be something like I managed to get my shit together and get a job, but I forgot to take my meds or something before I went to the house for dinner or something. And it's 6-7 hours had passed, and I'm driving home, and I run out of gas or something, or a tire blows, and I go out, and I'm in the dark, and some cops see me there, but I'm still dressed because I got cleaned up. I'm still have some kind of not shitty looking clothes, but like I'm still. And maybe all of a sudden I start going like this. I start whatever happens to me, whatever disability I have. I start doing it, and they get scared, and I go in my pocket.
Nervous tick.
Right? They start fucking blowing me,
and before you know, they blow you away.
Yeah, or they start choking me or some shit. It was just fun, brother.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Great. Thanks very much.
We'll do it again. We'll keep in touch.
For sure. All right. So stay safe.
Yeah, you and yours be safe and well. It was fantastic, Mark. Nice meeting you.
Yeah.
And doing this. I had a blast. It was fun. Everybody out there, I want you all to hang in there and wear a fucking mask.
Wear a mask, exactly.
Bye, guys.
In episode 6, the Christmas special 2020, I'll be interviewing Canadian screenwriter, director, stand-up comedian, producer, and actress Trish Rainoni. I hope you'll join me then.